What's up, everybody? This is the Booch, and welcome to episode 28 of the Boochcast Reviews Darkside of the Ring. I know a lot of you out there saying it's about fucking time. I know. I know.
We know.
Our schedule, everybody's schedules are hectic.
Very hectic.
You know, people say, I want to be in on this video, and then they don't fucking show. I don't know what the hell's going on. But I got somebody who would show. Ladies and gentlemen, I am being joined again, for the first time since Grizzly Smith.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah. The broke soulless Ginger Zach Scott is here.
Hello.
And as you can see, he's actually ready to talk.
Shut up. I was in pain. You have to keep on bringing that up?
Oh no, they already know you're in pain. I had all the video thing, all the arrows and shit pointing at you. I had fun.
Well, I didn't.
It's the same fun I had when Desmond was on his phone one time. Didn't make that mistake again. Anyway. Well, that first one was Elvis's idea. This one was actually the other one was actually my idea.
I figured that.
That was all my doing. But anyway, we are here, ladies and gentlemen, for a heck of a story, and we're having fun on this one because even though there's some dark shit, because this is Darkside of the Ring, this one is not quite as crazy as other ones that we've seen. You know, like obviously Grizzly Smith was a lot to take in. Fucking The Plane Ride from Hell was not as fun as I thought it was gonna be. But today we got a somewhat fun one for you guys today, and that one is of course The Many Faces of Luna Vachon.
And she was awesome, guys. The simple fact she wasn't tits and ass. She wasn't attractive anyway by any means, but in that ring she will whoop some ass.
Absolutely. And so, you know, she was hailing from wrestling royalty. Yeah. Luna Vachon emerged as one of the Squared Circle's most unhinged and most unforgettable characters. When you saw her, you saw a monster come to life. And I can honestly say that's the truth.
That is true. Because
I've seen Luna Vachon in like earlier matches when she was in WWE and a little bit of the Attitude Era, because I know she had a feud with somebody we'll get to later. But she really was. Like the way she spoke, the way she delivered, like she was one of the few girls that when you saw her in the ring, and I really don't mean this in a bad way, I'm just stating facts here. She was one of the few women that you had no choice but to look at her wrestling. Mm-hmm. Her character was designed to not make you get a hard-on when you saw her. It was designed that way. Not that I'm saying that some people might have found that attractive. Some people might be into that shit, and you still might have gotten off. But she was really one of those people that was like, she was built as a monster character.
She wasn't there for looks.
Yeah. Now, if you found her attractive, all power to you. But that's not what her character was designed for. Because some people had characters, some females, that were designed to get guys horny. You know? Sable was designed to get guys horny. Sunny was designed to get guys horny. Trish Stratus was designed to get guys horny. Now, granted, Trish could wrestle. Trish could wrestle. But still, her character. I'm not talking about in-ring skill. I'm talking about character development. Luna's character was not designed to attract men. It was designed for another purpose. Yes. And it served that purpose very well.
It did.
So, despite being constantly marginalized by a male-dominated industry, Luna was driven to push boundaries that redefined women's wrestling. She really wanted to redefine the sport.
Yep. Yeah, she did.
Her volatile upbringing sprang from a traumatic upbringing and personal tragedies. While working alongside some of wrestling's top stars, her battles with addiction and mental health became all-consuming.
Yeah.
So, really, that's the real dark side of this story, really, is she had problems with addiction, and she had mental health. But that's about as far as the crazy shit goes. So that's why I say this is a more upbeat show, because it's more about sympathy and less about, you know, other people that were like, wow, what a dick. Wow, what a terrible person. Luna was not a terrible person.
No, she wasn't.
But that's not to say she didn't make some mistakes along the way.
She did.
You know, she was schizophrenic and snorting yayo all day, every day.
And if somebody who doesn't know what that is, that's a good old-fashioned cocaine.
That's cocaine?
That's cocaine.
I couldn't tell if it was cocaine or heroin.
No. All right, look. You ever seen the movie Pulp Fiction?
Oh, but I seen the movie Scarface. That's where I first learned the word yayo. When
Pulp...
they were in there and they were looking around, and then all of a sudden, you know, it was like that scene where Tony Montana breaks out of the hotel and he goes, "Chi-Chi, get the yayo." That's the first time I ever heard the word yayo. No one told me what it was. But he was saying that as he's going after the guy and shoots him right in the middle of the street, which... That's how crazy the world was back then. You could shoot somebody in the middle of the street and not go to jail. Try that today.
No, it's not going to happen.
Try that today.
But it was...
Yeah, anyway,
it was cocaine because, like, as a person who's done this stuff, ladies and boys and girls, do that. You cannot smoke heroin. It will kill you. Okay? So, yayo, that is a street term for cocaine.
That's cocaine.
Yes. And during this time frame, there's a lot of wrestlers on that powder. Good God.
Oh, all of them did it. And their answer was, they give the same answer most people give. It was the 80s. Everybody did it. Hogan was on it. Bret Hart did it at one point. Macho Man was all over it. Hogan's wife, Linda. A lot of the wrestlers...
Iron Sheik was addicted to it.
Iron Sheik, Jake Roberts.
New Jack.
New Jack used to do it before his matches. We talked about that in the previous video. So a lot of guys did cocaine. Some of them eventually stopped. Like Hogan eventually stopped. You know, a lot of other people eventually stopped. But in the 80s, that's just what people did. If somebody did cocaine, they'd say it was the 80s. Let it go. Just let it go. That's just how the world was. Cocaine back in the 80s is like pot today. Almost everybody does it. Okay? Now, if somebody said, I did it's like, why did you do cocaine? It was the 2000s. Get them help.
Smack yourself.
Get help for that fucking person. But if they say 80s, leave them alone.
That's what I hear. Why'd you do all that cocaine? The 80s.
That was the answer. And what they mean by that was everybody in the 80s was doing it. All the celebrities, they would go to Studio 54, do lines off the table. That's just what people did. And also, if you had cocaine, it symbolized you were rich because it cost a lot of fucking money. That's why most rich people, when they lose all their money, it's because of cocaine. The cocaine overtakes them. So...
Watch the Dirt on Netflix.
That's it. He saw it, not me. She was betrayed by the world she endured and committed one act of defiance that would cause her self-destruction. She stood up to Vince in front of everybody and said, "I'm more than just tits and ass."
That's true.
Which, back then, that's a pretty ballsy thing to say to Vince. Now, today, obviously, when we see women's wrestling, we know the women are more than just tits and ass.
They're getting better at it.
You know, but here's the thing. I've always said, and I'll preach this forever, I am perfectly okay with seeing women in a ring who can wrestle and work. Obviously, I want to see that. But if a woman can wrestle and is also tits and ass, that to me is the perfect combo. Because guys, and let's be honest here, men, as much as we enjoy seeing the women wrestle, we all like tits and ass. Unless you're gay, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
I say that all the time. Guys like tits and ass. We love tits and ass. And also, for any women out there that have a problem with me saying what I'm saying right now, I got 4 words for you.
What's that, Mr. Vinabucci?
John Cena, Roman Reigns.
There you go.
Because guess what?
What?
I meet a lot of women
I do too.
that like John Cena, and guess what?
What?
It ain't because he does hip toss, drop down, leapfrog. It's because he's got big jack fucking muscles and a Hollywood-like face and smile, and you want him to jump your bones. Roman Reigns, same thing. You like his physique, you like his long Samoan hair, and you want to grab it while you ride him like the Belmont Stakes. So don't act like...
Oh my God.
Don't sit here and pretend that we're the only ones. Hey, you're sitting in the chair, you're riding with me. Don't sit here and pretend that y'all don't look at the guys as hot pieces of ass either. Obviously, you want them to wrestle, some of you. But most of you like the guys because they're good looking. That's why they try to make the baby face good looking, so girls will be attracted. They also try to make the heel good looking.
Randy Orton,
so the guys will get heat, because guys most men naturally hate, the more good looking a guy is, the more men are most likely to hate him. Because they're jealous of the fact that he's getting more pussy than we are. So they get booed as well. So looks are important. But I do agree with Luna. It's not the only thing.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Should it be the only thing? No. But you can't just focus on one and not the other. If you're a fantastic wrestler, but as a woman, you also got tits and ass, but you can also wrestle, to me, you're the total package. If you're missing one and not the other, there's a problem there. Mm-hmm. You need both to be a star. You can just wrestle, but you ain't gonna be on the cover of the magazine. Now, if you're a female wrestler and that doesn't matter to you, okay then. But don't get mad if you and another woman are both good wrestlers, but the other woman's got tits and ass and she's climbing up the ladder a little bit more. Now, if a girl's all tits and ass and no wrestling and she's climbing up the ladder, then I can see you being a little upset. And believe me, we will be too eventually. Remember, I used to hate Mandy Rose. Anyway, I don't anymore, but I used to. So, her son thought wrestling was real because her mom was legit crazy. Mm-hmm. She once showed up to school to pick him up and had a snake around her neck. Ugh. She went to hug her son and the snake almost got her. Mm. So...
Yeah, okay, Mom, if you ever don't know, my mom ever did that, I'd be like, I don't know her.
That's what you're like, I don't know this woman.
I don't know her.
I don't know this woman. I didn't come with this woman. And if it's all the same to you guys, I'll be walking away from this woman.
Like, to be calling up for her, so it's like, oh no, that's not my name. I'm like, who's that? That guy.
Yeah, but in your case, you have to pray to God there's another redhead in the class.
And another redhead.
and you don't see two redheads in the same classroom, so you're fucked.
And if I didn't have clean shaves and I show you a picture of my mom, how identical I am to my mom. I'm like,
oh God, yeah, you're fucked.
I'm screwed.
Oh, when I was a kid, people said I looked exactly like my mom. No one said I looked like my dad until I shaved my head. No one ever said that. But I used to look, everybody said I look like my mom. So we're screwed. We're clearly our mother's boys. Yeah. They're gonna catch us. So, but yeah, a snake around her neck, it's like, oh God. Because that's the thing that every kid worries about when your parents pick you up from school and they're doing something embarrassing.
I got a story.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. That middle school, it was like right at the beginning of springtime, my dad had to come pick me up for a doctor's appointment. So whatever. And this is the time when he was driving my mom's Mustang, and this is the type of Mustang you put the top down. And he just shaved his head, and he comes down there with a shaved head, pierced ears, blasting the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and picks me up at school. And I come up there, I just looked at him, I toss my bag in the bag and go, show off. And he starts chuckling.
Well, that's not embarrassing. That's actually pretty cool. Wait a minute, what song did he play?
I don't. Oh God, Vin, you're talking about something about 25 years ago. I don't remember that song.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're probably too drunk to remember. So anyway,
not in middle school, you dick.
I meant now, not in middle school.
I didn't even know what alcohol was in middle school.
Oh God, where was that kid? She was married to Gangrel. They met at a Florida Championship Wrestling show. She came in, she kicked the door open, and she yells, "Fresh meat." She had a mohawk and a bloody nose and scared the shit out of him. They said they would never date somebody like each other, but somehow ended up married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, too.
They always say, like, oh, I'll never date anybody in the business. 3 months later, they're dating somebody in the business.
Kind of like how somebody told us many, many, many years ago that he was never going to get married. Boy, was he wrong.
Well, that's a different story.
That's the same thing.
Well, I'm saying that, like, for example, Becky Lynch said she would never date anybody in the business. Next thing you know, she married Seth Rollins.
And had a kid.
So, you don't know who you're going to meet. But I'm just saying, imagine that. Imagine you're in a locker room.
There you go. La.
And a girl walks in and goes, "Fresh meat." You're
Holy
running
water.
Yes.
Holy water.
The power of Christ compels you. I'm just saying, Jesus Christ. And here's the thing. If you're scaring Gangrel.
Gangrel's a scary looking dude.
Oh, yeah. I worked a show with him, but we didn't get a chance to really talk.
I heard good things about Gangrel.
Yeah. Well, Gator says he's a sweetheart.
Okay.
Because Gator's worked many shows with him. But anyway, her father and uncle were the Vachon tag team. one of the most hated tag teams in the world. They were wrestling royalty in Canada. Her uncle was Mad Dog Vachon. Some of you might remember this name. He's a very, very old school wrestler from way back in the day. He was one of the biggest names, Mad Dog Vachon. That's Luna's uncle.
Okay.
Her aunt was Vivian Vachon, and her father was Paul Butcher Vachon.
Okay.
All of them were odd and strange. So when you look at who Luna is now, you look at where she was back then, you can see how she got to where he was.
I was like, who raised you? And all of a sudden the family comes together. It's like, oh, I get it now. And I did not know she's from wrestling royalty. Huh.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I didn't. Well, here's the thing. I didn't really remember much about Luna Vachon as a kid, so I didn't put Mad Dog. I didn't put two and two together.
Oh, you didn't?
No. But then when they said her uncle was Mad Dog Vachon, I'm like, holy shit. I probably would have known if I cared enough about Luna at the time, but I wasn't a big Luna Vachon fan as a kid.
Who was? He gave kids like us nightmares.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. She wasn't somebody that I really, knew very well.
Or would have a poster in a bikini.
On TV. Well, yeah. Well, they didn't sell posters of her in a bikini on TV. Believe me, if there were posters of her in a bikini, I'd have saw it at some point. Would I have hung it up on my wall? Probably not. No. But I would have seen it at some point.
Yeah.
Because I had Diva magazines dating all the way back to the 90s. Okay? I got those Diva swimsuit calendars and those centerfold posters that my brother made a copy of, took to school, and almost got kicked out. Anyway, he hung it up in his locker. They did a locker check and found it. Luckily, it was a copy. If he had taken the original and got it confiscated, I'd have stabbed him. They were in bikinis, but they were done tastefully because it was WWE. It wasn't like a penthouse naked forum thing. Although some female wrestlers had posed for Playboy. But anyway.
Which is no problem at all.
No, it's not. Nothing wrong with that.
Nope. Okay,
so, Luna became part of the Vachon family after her biological father shot himself.
Jesus Christ.
He owned the hotel he was staying in, and he later married the widow. Luna was 4 years old, and he was the only father she ever knew. And if you're 4 years old when that happens, yeah this is the beginning of the decline of mental health for this girl.
Yeah.
You know? And Vivian was known as the wrestling queen. She would go on the road, clean up the dressing room for her, and help her put her curls in her hair. She wanted to grow up and be just like her. So she wanted to grow up and be just like her mom. Mm. Luna wanted to get into the business, but her family was against it because they knew it was a tough business to get into, especially for women. And that's a key thing that most people don't understand about the business is there are some families that want their kids in the business, like the Von Erichs and things like that. But there are other families that are like, they don't want their kids in the business because they know how challenging the business is. And they know what kind of life it leads.
That's true.
So a lot of guys are like, look, some of them became wrestlers because they had to and they had no other skills or no other options. But it's like, look, if you got other skills and options, don't get in this. That happened with The Rock. His dad was against it. But what finally turned him around was The Rock looked in the eye and said, I'm going to do this. Now either you can train me or I'll find somebody else to train me. But either way, I'm doing this. And once his dad heard that, he was like, all right, fine. I'll train you. Because he wanted his son's like, all right, if my son's going to do this, he's going to do it right. He's not disgracing my name. That's another mindset, but also his son. So he trained him. And his dad was a hard ass.
Yeah. And became the Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yes.
One of the biggest, the biggest, action star of all time, basically.
He's there. He's the best. He's the best today. I don't know if I'd say all time. But yeah, so there's a lot of crazy things going on in the business.
Yes.
So Mad Maxine was athletic and loved costumes. And that's how she got into the business. She met Luna while training with the Fabulous Moolah, which was Harvard for women's wrestlers.
Yeah, Fabulous Moolah. Not the nicest of people. But
yes. Now, we were talking about Moolah in a previous video, but we mentioned that she was the place to go.
Yeah, it was the place to go.
Because Fabulous Moolah had all the connections.
Yeah.
She knew everybody. She can get you booked anywhere. So, back then, she held the keys to the kingdom.
Yeah.
In women's wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, people can have their opinions, good or bad, about her, but these are just facts. She was the leader of women's wrestling. You cannot be a female wrestler in the business Male wrestlers, they're allowed. But female wrestlers, you cannot be in the business and not have some level of respect for Fabulous Moolah, because she's part of the reason y'all are even in this business today. She is the godmother of wrestling. Moolah once sent Luna to this guy, who let a guy take pictures of her for $500. Mm-hmm. She went there and the guy tried to rape her. Mm-hmm. She fought him off and ran out of the hotel room. Gangrel said Moolah is the only person on the planet that intimidated Luna. So here's an example of Moolah not exactly being a good person. Yeah. Now, well, here's the thing, though. What? The question is, did Moolah know he had plans to rape her, though? So that's another issue. Yeah. He might have just been like, go take these pictures for $500. She might not have. Now, if Moolah knew that was his intention, then fuck that bitch. Mm-hmm. But if she didn't know that was what was going to happen, and Moolah did something about it later, which I don't think they ever said they did, then that's another story.
I don't think they did in the show.
Yeah, I don't think they ever clarified that.
No, they didn't. I watched it twice to make sure here, guys.
Yeah. So, Penelope Paradise, the great and powerful and very beautiful. She says Luna wanted to be the best heel there ever was and aspired to achieve Hogan-level status, which is a pretty big dream to have, because Hogan was on a whole nother level.
A whole nother horse.
And if you're a woman, that's an even more insane level back then, because women's wrestling wasn't regarded as much. Like, there was a place for women's wrestling, but it wasn't at the top. It's not like today, where women can have main event matches and main event WrestleMania and things like that. Back then, that was unheard of.
True.
Just to get in the business and make a lot of money was a woman's goal back then.
Yeah.
Now, she later left Moolah's camp and joined the CWF and became part of Kevin Sullivan's faction. Perfect fit. Perfect fit. Yeah. Because Kevin Sullivan had a demonic character, so this is perfect. Yeah. She joined as a reporter that Kevin attacked, and later she became possessed and became Luna Vachon. All right. Well, because that's how they do things. Kevin would later... It was kind of like when The Undertaker was recruiting the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, he would, like, you know... like, somebody would be popping up, he put a hand on and goes, accept the Lord of Darkness as your savior. Allow the pyramid to guide you. And then all of a sudden, Mabel becomes Viscera. So that's kind of similar here. So she would get... She started off as a normal reporter, got attacked, possessed, and is now Luna Vachon.
Luna Vachon.
Luna was short for lunatic.
Well...
So that's how they came up with the name, Luna Vachon.
That works.
Yeah. The goal was to piss people off and make them believe they really were satanic. And it worked. I was talking about Nancy Benoit getting into the business when she was Nancy Sullivan. They believed the gimmick so much. One time she was at a gas station and a guy came up and started like reading the Bible to her because they thought she was possessed. So they were trying to do like an exorcism in the gas station. Like holding up a cross and saying a bunch of incantations, and they didn't touch her. They were just doing that stuff. And Nancy just got in the car and laughed.
If that ever happened to me, and you know very well it could happen to me because I'm sort of a demon, you're eventually gonna stand there like, good luck. There's nothing. She's not. Yeah, I'm just gonna look at them and go, get a life, and just walk away.
Yeah, exactly.
I was raised atheist. It's not mean I was possessed by a demon. Every once in a while.
Well, you sometimes you get possessed by demons. They go by interesting names. Beer, vodka, whiskey. You know, those are good. Those are just some demons. Yeah.
Some of my best friends in the whole wide world is whiskey and beer.
Yes, and he sleeps with a man every night. His name is Jack Daniels. Anyway,
that. All right, go ahead. Sorry, folks. I thought that was actually pretty good. Sleeping every night. His name's Jack Daniels. I just looked over. I was like, touche, sir.
Yeah. She partied too much. Yeah. She took 100 pills a day.
Jesus.
Did Quaaludes and Coke.
It was the 80s.
Exactly. She also claimed she was raped by wrestlers who stayed at the house. She was also abused by her aunt. I'm assuming physically. I don't know if it was sexual or not, but that's where I think they're going with that. Her dad said he doesn't believe that happened.
We don't know.
We don't. Now, his dad doesn't believe that happened. He thinks it's a lie. What do we know? We don't. We're not going to sit here and pretend, but I'll say what I always say. If it's true, then it's fucking horrible.
It's horrible. But she's dead, so there's nothing to do about it.
Well, not just that, but we weren't there when it happened. So it's not like we don't have first-hand experience.
And raped by other wrestlers. Luna Vachon was a big girl. I was like, yeah, right. I was
it depends on the situation. She was a big girl, but guys are big too. They can sometimes overpower. You know? Or if she was drugged before she was raped. Like we don't know the circumstances of how it happened. You know? So we don't. Let's say there are situations. Even though Luna Vachon is a big girl, it is possible that she can still get raped.
Yeah, sure.
But just that one guy, she was able to fight off because he was a pussy.
Yeah,
apparently. Exactly. So I'm saying we don't know if these are true or not. But if they are, it's fucked up.
Yeah, that's
all we
true.
can say. All right. That's all we can say. We have no first-hand knowledge or experience.
Nope.
Or any knowledge, anything. So. She had multiple personalities. Angel was sweet and spoke like a child. Luna was psychotic. Trudy was normal. There's fucking names for all of them.
That's what happens with multiple personalities. To become a totally different person.
Oh, yeah.
Like I can be telling those I'll snap and become a Bible-toting person. Vinny, did that ever happens to you? Get me medicated and get me medicated.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, like, so she had different names. Angel, Luna, Trudy. Interesting names. So Trudy's all normal. Angel's just like, you know, I'm only 3.5 years old. And then Luna's basically like, I will eat your soul. Those are fucked up crazy. Anyway, what? Okay. So her and Penelope got in a fist fight in the hotel before they went out to wrestle. Typical wrestling shit back then.
Did that actually happen?
Sometimes people get in fights in hotels and everything else. Wrestlers scrap all the time.
Yeah.
But the rule is this.
What?
If you're going out to wrestle, once you go out to the ring, any issues you have go out the window.
There to perform.
No, that's not that. Like, let's say you and I got into a serious fist fight and we wanted to fucking kill each other, but we were wrestling in a ring that night. The rule is when we go out to that ring, we act like that fight never happened, and you're still required to take care of me in that ring.
Yeah, fair enough.
That means don't try to break my arm or break my leg because I punched you in the face in the locker room. As far as I'm concerned, the punch never happened. You're still supposed to work my arm, work your punches, work everything, and then when the match is over, once we're back in the locker room, you want to fight again? We fight again. That's the rule.
We go half at.
I'm just saying, once you get back behind the curtain and you're away from the wrestlers, if you still feel like you need to scrap to settle your feud, go in the locker room or go outside somewhere, and you has fight.
Outside.
That's it. That's the rule. You don't take liberties in a wrestling ring.
No.
You leave your personal shit in the locker room. Yep. If you still need to settle it, go settle it.
Settle it.
That's the rule.
That's the rule.
So, now she later got married to Dick Slater, Dirty Dick Slater, and he was allegedly abusive.
What do you believe?
No one saw her get hit, but they did see bruises on her.
Okay.
So, there's a possibility it's true. But again, we don't know. We're just going off of what's we talked about on the show. So again, do I believe it happened? It's a possibility. Strong possibility.
Yep.
But we can't confirm nor deny. We just can't.
Yep.
Now, later, she married Tom Nash, who was Gangrel's tag team partner. She once snapped and hit Gangrel and said, "Why don't you like me?" She rips his shirt off and jumped on his back and bit him. He eventually gets her off and pins her against a tree to get her to fucking relax. So, well, here's my question. And obviously she's crazy. That's probably the answer to this question. But she's saying, why don't you like me?
Let's see here.
Well, aside from the fact that you're batshit fucking crazy,
cuckoo.
You're married to my tag team partner. I'm not gonna fuck you if you're married to my tag team partner.
Yeah.
Because if we're tag partners, chances are they're friends. Mm-hmm. So we ain't breaking that trust. And also, even if I didn't like my tag partner, I'm not going to risk breaking up this team and losing money just to fuck you. I'm sorry. Not going to happen. So you would think that would be an indicator. But anyway.
Yeah, but
yeah. Their tag team name was called the Blackhearts. And Luna was their manager. The tag team broke up when they got in a real life fight because Tom thought Gangrel was fucking Luna behind his back.
But he wasn't.
He wasn't. He swung on him and Gangrel defended himself by basically beating the shit out of him. It's like, look, man, I ain't banging your chick, but you just swung at me. So now we has fight. So now I gotta kill you. Because that's the thing about a guy. Like, we'll sit there and try to rationalize, but the moment you swing, oh, it's on.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
Exactly. Now I got to kill you. Mm-hmm. That's just a man thing. You swing on somebody, now he's got to beat him up. To the point where he threw up in the bathroom after he saw what he did to him. Mm. Like, that's how bad it was. When Tom saw how fucked up he was because he tried to fight Gangrel. I ain't looking to fight Gangrel. You want to fight Gangrel? No. I've met him in person. He's big. He's a jack motherfucker. Mm-hmm. He may not look it on TV, but he's a big motherfucker.
Yeah. And he has fangs, too. So
yes.
Good.
The Vampire Warrior. He did some fanging and banging that day.
I bet he did.
Yes. So, this also led to Tom and Luna divorcing. Mm. Tom Nash disputes this description of the altercation with Gangrel. So Tom Nash basically says this didn't happen. I did not swing on him. He did not beat the shit out of me. I didn't throw up in the bathroom. So, again, this is... Now, normally when it says like that this person denies this, this was something that was mentioned in Darkside of the Ring, but the person wasn't available for comment. So they just... didn't want to be featured on camera, but here's my statement. Because some people don't want to be on camera. And after what happened with the Plane Ride from Hell, I don't blame some people for not wanting to be on camera. No. We'll be lucky if we get a season 4. He says that dispute didn't happen, whatever. Again, we can only speculate. They got married at midnight on Halloween. Okay. After Gangrel wrestled a steel cage match.
Okay.
They got vampire bites instead of wedding rings. Luna helped Gangrel get booked. She had the connections.
Vampire bites instead of wedding rings.
Yeah.
Okay, they're batshit fucking nuts.
Well, they were into gothic shit.
I was into gothic shit, but not like this till my dad shut it down.
Well, I'm just saying, they like the vampire stuff. That's why the vampire bit worked so great for Gangrel, because it was close to this type of shit that he likes.
True.
So that's why it worked for him. To this day, he can still be the vampire warrior. You know, he made a great appearance in AEW. But I'm saying, so they did that, and there's the thing. He wrestled a steel cage match and then got married. Now, that's what I think is kind of nuts.
I think that's insane.
Now, I'm assuming they wrestled at Justice of the Peace, or did all the wrestlers after the show go to the wedding? Like, that's what I'm intrigued about.
Yeah, or it's just probably, if they were someplace, hey, we pay this certain amount of money, you can get married.
Or go to the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, all the VIP tickets can go to the wedding.
There you go.
Anybody that didn't charge VIP, you're going to have to pay at the door again.
Let's go to imagine seeing Luna Vachon and Gangrel's freaking wedding. That would be one bizarre, wonderful thing.
Well, yeah. Especially when it's like, you know, instead of exchanging the rings, they're biting each other's necks. And then that would be weird. Like, because usually when you see a wedding, when they do the whole ring ceremony, like they hand the ring, because usually you're putting the ring on the finger while you're talking to the girl and giving your own vows.
You know something funny?
That's what's awkward here. What?
I was a ring bearer 2 times.
Cool. Well, that's ring bearer. That's different than best man.
Yeah, I know.
Ring bearer hands the rings to the best man and maid of honor, and then they hand the ring to the groom and the bride, put it in his fingers. So I thought that'd be awkward. Like, you know, does your best man have the fangs? Like, he's gonna pull fangs out of his pocket and hand it to the guy, and then he puts them in his mouth and bites the girl's neck. Like, how does that work?
I have no clue.
Because that's what I'm saying. Because the whole point of the best man is to hand over the ring. Mm-hmm. That's the job.
Pretty much.
Like, when you ask somebody to be your best man, you're basically saying, hey, when the time comes, hand me the ring.
Hand you the ring.
And then I put it on the girl's finger. Yep. And Maid of Honor, same thing. You hand the ring. Now, of course, other responsibilities like planning bachelorette parties and shit like that.
That'd be my job.
Yeah, if I made you the best man. Don't assume you got that role. I'm hurt. Hey, I got a lot of choices to make in that area. The only person that's not getting the job is Elvis because he didn't make me his best man. And I have a rule. If I'm not the best man at your wedding, you don't get to choose at my wedding.
If I ever get married, you are going to be the best man.
Desmond said the same thing, so you're both would be a toss-up. So
most likely.
Just saying.
He'll get married way before I do.
Exactly. So, well, Desmond's already gone on record saying I'm the best man if that happens.
There we go.
So I already got that job. So if I did get married, he would be in the running. So they got married, which is kind of weird when you. And this is the only one that finds this odd. Before we move on here, guy accuses you of fucking his wife behind your back. Mm-hmm. You're not fucking his wife behind his back. Mm-hmm. You get in a big fight. Yep. Friendship ends. Yeah. He divorces the wife. You then marry the wife.
Then you marry the wife. This is not...
Doesn't that not help your case?
No, it don't.
I'm just saying. Again, I'm not saying that Gangrel and Luna had an affair. I'm just saying that doesn't help your case here.
No, it don't.
All right, and this is the thing. Luna had the connections, not Gangrel. That's because of Moolah.
Yep.
So while she might have gone through some horrible shit with Moolah, and finally got the fuck out of there,
yeah,
there was a benefit that came from it.
Yes, it was.
Because some people work for people in the business and don't get a benefit from it. Some do, some don't. But anyway, on April 4th, 1993, she debuted at WrestleMania 9. And she managed Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid.
Heartbreak Kid.
She later fought Sherry Martel, who was managing Tatanka, Buffalo. She was also the first female wrestler to ever be in a video game. Mm-hmm. That I didn't know.
Oh, okay.
Luna was the first to ever be featured in a video game. And the game was called WWF Raw. I've seen that game.
Yep.
Did not like that game. Mm-hmm. Especially didn't. No, wait. It wasn't Raw. That was Raw as War. I never played Raw. You know what's weird? Mm. I never played any of the wrestling games for the original Nintendo or Super Nintendo.
Yeah, neither did I.
Or Sega.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got N64 that I started playing wrestling games. That was it.
Along with Star Fox and GoldenEye and Super Smash Bros. And
Mario
Go-Kart.
Well, Star Fox was my jam. Yeah. But anyway. But yeah, so I never played that game. That's what I think is weird. You know, if I ever get my whole NES hooked up, I should probably find that game somewhere. After 15 years of wrestling in the indies, she makes it to WWE. So she was on the indies for 15 years. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand. Some people spend that long period of time on the indies before they get to the big show.
Yep.
Not everybody gets signed right out the gate.
No, they don't.
A lot of the girls didn't have children until late in their careers. Mm. And that's a key thing. Because once you have a kid, you take time off the road. And when you take time off the road, the longer you're gone, out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
It does take time off your career. And also, this is another primary reason why some women, or women in general, never got booked in top spots. Becky Lynch. Mm-hmm. Because, and the reason, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that in a minute, because if you're booked in a top spot, and then you get pregnant, guess what? Can't wrestle, can you?
Nope.
So you gotta go away.
Yep.
That's why so many people were pissed off when Becky Lynch got pregnant. Because she was the man. She was getting the push. She was the top star. She was over than most of the men. All the women and most of the men. She was the number one person. She gets pregnant. Adios.
Bye.
The women's division went... They just killed it.
Yep.
They had a way where they could have avoided killing it, but they didn't. They killed it.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
Same thing with Lacey Evans.
Yeah.
She had a great feud with Charlotte and Ric Flair and that possible love affair thing. Then what happens? Lacey gets pregnant. She's off TV. Yep. And they got to have Ric Flair and Charlotte hug backstage and apologize just to end the feud because there's no point in having the feud.
True.
Because Rick and Charlotte aren't going to chop each other in the ring.
No.
So you got nothing.
Nothing.
So I'm just saying, if you're going to get pregnant, make arrangements ahead of time with management. When you do stuff like that, not only does it affect you getting a push in the future, somehow Becky was able to avoid that, But also, you're hurting the company. You're also hurting all the other women in the back. It's like, well, we're not going to push any more women because who's next to get pregnant? You got to think about the business and not just yourself if you want to be a top star. Yep. Now, if you just want to wrestle, then nobody cares. Like, if Dana Brooke got pregnant, nobody would give a fuck. Nope. Nothing against Dana Brooke, but she's not in any major storylines.
Like I say, Liv Morgan got pregnant, then
that would be a problem because she's the champ right now. Yeah. So I'm saying, don't do that. You have to be smart about your career and other things. You can't let the team down.
Nope.
Now, I'm not saying don't get pregnant. I'm saying if you're going to make those arrangements, say that ahead of time. Let them write you off TV. And then go home and, do the horizontal hustle and have yourself a baby. There you go. Just let people know. Yeah. Because that's a problem. So that's why these women waited till late in their careers. By the time by the time their career was winding down, they had a kid. They didn't care. They'd done all they could do. True. Her kids stayed with their grandmother. This is when Luna finally had kids. Because she was out there grinding on the road. Mm-hmm. So the grandmother would watch the kids. Her mom would watch the kids while she's out on the road. She couldn't ask her husband to do it because he's also traveling. So they always had a home base.
Yes.
And she cried over missing her son's birthday, which is something that a lot of wrestlers often do. Mm-hmm. Now, that's the difference between modern day wrestling and back then. Back then, you were missing birthdays. You were missing first words, first steps. You miss a lot in your kids' careers.
Yes.
That's why a lot of wrestlers back then were considered shitty parents, the men and the women, because they miss out on a lot of their kids' stuff. Now, today, that doesn't happen quite as much.
No.
Usually, people are able to get home for the birth of their kid. Adam Page is a prime example. When Hangman Adam Page was on that run where it looked like he was about to, at All Out, get a shot at Kenny Omega, what happened? He left for a while. Why? Because his wife was having a baby boy. Which at first kind of frustrated me, because I'm like, dude, you just fucked your push. But of course, they were eventually able to bring it back. And then when he brought it up during his infamous cowboy shit promo, which I'm not going to repeat because it makes me cry.
Please don't.
But he did that, and then later went on to win the world title. So guys are able to go home now for the birth of their kids. They're able to go home if there's a family emergency. That's also why some wrestlers would work part-time schedules. Like when Hogan was in WCW, he was a part-timer.
Yeah.
Like there were times like, hey man, we'd like you to come by and do this TV thing. And Hogan's like, I can't. Nick has a soccer game. And he'd go to the soccer game. Which I'm sure some people in the business might sneer at that. But when you look back on it as a parent, you kind of understand.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, I got to go home and go be a dad.
I
got to go home, go be a mom. Bye.
You're taking care of stuff, and then eventually, that's why Hogan only worked TV and pay-per-views. He didn't have to travel as much. But on WWE, he was on the road 300 plus days a year.
Yeah.
But in WCW, he was able to work a better contract. That's why you didn't see him at a lot of pay-per-views or a lot of nitros and stuff. He would come in for the big feuds, for the big moments.
Yeah. Like WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, all that stuff.
Actually, I meant Super Bowl, Starrcade.
Oh, that stuff.
That stuff. This is WCW.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
I'm
okay.
WWF.
Anyway. So, yeah. She eventually gets paired with Bam Bam Bigelow. She got lots of TV time, but was being used more as a valet and didn't get to wrestle much. And that is true. Because I'm watching some of the classic stuff for an upcoming pay-per-view review, and the only time I really saw her wrestle with Bam Bam was they had a mixed tag match at WrestleMania 10. And the only reason it was a mixed tag match was because they were fighting Doink the Clown and Dink the Clown, and Dink the Clown's a midget. So apparently, if you're a midget, you can fight a woman in the ring.
Let that make Gator happy.
Well, here's the thing, though, and I'll give them credit where it's due. It looks ridiculous. It's silly as fuck. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. The psychology worked.
Oh, okay.
Like, they had it to where the midget was sometimes like Luna at first. And the reason it worked is because Luna was the heel. Okay. And when you're a heel, you're allowed to be a little bit silly. Not too silly, but a little silly. Because heels can get away with anything. A babyface cannot. That's why most people would rather be heels. Because heels have more freedom. As a babyface, you can only go in one direction. Try to win, not lose. If you're a heel, you can be badass, you can be scared, you can be angry, you can be anything. Like a heel's allowed to get down on their knees and go, please don't hit me, please don't hit me, I beg you, I'm sorry. A heel can do that.
Yep.
And here's the best part.
What?
You can get somebody over just by doing that. You don't even have to fight. Like, I'll show you real quick. You and I could do this and have a 20-minute match, okay? Mm-hmm. Watch, I'm going to do something real quick, okay? Whoa. Ooh, put your fists up. Whoa, whoa, no, now push off of me and put your fists up like you're going to punch me. Whoa, no.
Okay.
And then I'm like, no, please don't hurt me. Poke your eye. Bam, bam, bam. Shove me off.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Put your fist up again. You're like, what? No. That is literally how they will work a match. Shit you not.
Yeah,
so Luna would try to like dive at him and the midget would move out of the way, or she's like running around trying to catch this son of a bitch. And the midget's running really fast. Then eventually, at one point, she trips, falls on the rope. The midget comes over, smacks her on the ass, starts running around again. But finally, Luna snaps and just punt kicks the midget. So that's where she gets her heat back. He was like, okay, you made a fool out of me, you son of a bitch. And then, bam, now I got you. And then she starts wailing on the midget. But it works because she made him look stupid for 20 minutes. So now Luna's getting her heat back.
True.
So it works if done right. So, granted, it was ridiculous, but it worked because the psychology. And we'll talk more about that in the WrestleMania 10 review. That won't be coming out for about a year, though. So anyway, according to Medusa, who's also a Lunger Blaze, a lot of people know, there was only 5 or 6 women on the roster back then. And they didn't have a women's division. There was none. They hated that their names weren't on the marquee. They were and more most of the time. So
I saw that. It's like, why can't you put them on there?
Some of them were stars, some of them weren't.
Okay.
Because the guys were the ones that everybody came to see. Because women's wrestling it used to be a thing you put on the card. Mm-hmm. But you would have like one match with the women. Just one match on the card. And the reason is because, and this is the truth, there's a lot of women, and even today you see a lot of women in wrestling. Yeah. There are some that are really good.
Yes.
We've seen them on NXT, AEW, main roster, Raw, SmackDown. We've seen them all. Yes. There are some that are very, very good, very, very talented, know how to work, deserve to main event, and are very, very talented. And then there's the rest. Yeah. Who botch, who are terrible. Mm-hmm. Some of them know how to wrestle but have no personality. Some of them are tits and ass but don't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. They're god-freaking awful. And they just have no idea what the hell they're doing. So there's a handful of good women. Yes. And they acknowledge that. That's why they only had 5 or 6 women, because they were trying to pick, okay, here's the 6 that we think are really good and who will go out there, have a match, and entertain that crowd. Mm-hmm. So they were very selective with the women they brought in. And also because of a physical stature, and again, most people don't like hearing this, because if the women do a bunch of crazy shit, it makes the guys look bad. Like, the best example of that is one time Mark Merrow was supposed to work a program with Steve Austin, Stone Cold. And one night, Sable picked up Mark Merrow and powerbombed him on the floor. She did the Sable bomb. Mm-hmm. Austin saw that, canceled the match. He said, if she knocked him out with a powerbomb, why would it take me longer than 10 minutes to whoop his ass? Like, if it takes me longer than 2 minutes to whoop Mark Merrow's ass, then that makes Sable stronger than me. And Sable ain't stronger than me. So the match got thrown out.
Ah, okay.
Because people take that into consideration. That's why most people don't like when women do gimmick matches. Because, like, if y'all are doing this and getting back up, what's there for the guy to do? True. Now, people can interpret that however they want. I'm just telling you how the business works.
Yep.
Now, they said 90% of the guys were gentlemen. And the 10% were obnoxious pricks. And Luna would say, my dick is bigger than your dick.
Okay. Even though she didn't have one, she had a couple of kids, so okay.
Well, that's like the insult that most women use.
Okay.
Like, remember in G.I. Jane when she yelled at the guy, suck my dick?
Yeah.
While she was torturing him?
Yeah.
That was meant to be like, okay.
Okay.
You know, that's what makes it funny, because you're sitting there going, wait, she doesn't have a dick. Or does she?
Does she?
Because you don't know. Like, that fucks with your head, you know? It's like in King of the Hill when Bobby screamed, "Let go of my purse!"
Let go of my purse.
You're sitting there going, wait, what purse? What the fuck? So that worked perfectly. Like, regardless, that's a good thing to say because you catch somebody off guard, like, what purse talking about? And then boom, you hit them. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a kick to the nuts or a punch to the face or whatever. But things like that can throw somebody off guard. So it's good. Now, Medusa was sick of the women not getting respect. So she said, fuck it, and she laid down and gave Luna the belt. Mm. She just laid down for her. Luna wouldn't do it because she didn't want to get Medusa fired for going against creative.
Okay.
So originally Medusa's going to be like, fuck it. I was going to lay down in the ring and you give me the belt. And Luna's like, no, we're not going to do that. We're better than that. You're better than that. I'm better than that. Of course, not knowing Medusa would eventually drop the women's title in the garbage can on Monday Nitro. But back then, they were serious. She eventually forms a bond with Sherry Martel, another great wrestler who was downgraded to manager status. Yep. Gangrel confronted Sherry when he found out she was on pills.
Okay.
So she was like going to her, trying to figure out why Luna's getting on all these pills and stuff. Now, her mental illness and drugs got in the way of her success. She went to rehab and then was fired. Now, at this point, that's on her.
Yep.
Now, the mental health, I can be sympathetic to, but the drugs, yeah.
No.
The drugs are like, look, you can't do that back then. Now, back then, you gotta keep in mind, no one gave a shit about mental health during this time. Like, mental health awareness is only something that's happened over the last couple years. Where nowadays, we really do look at people's mental health and we take it seriously. Because there's a reason why some people deal with mental illness. Some people are depressed. Some people are angry. We see some people snap and go crazy with a large caliber weapon. Like, there's a million different things that happen when people are mentally ill. And that's why people take it seriously. Like, either, like, if you do have a mental illness, find a trusted friend or go seek a therapist. Because I'll use a quote from this guy who survived a suicide attempt. I can't remember his name on top of my head. I think it's Kevin something. He said, it's okay to not be okay. It's not okay to not be okay and not ask for help. So, if you're dealing with a mental illness and it's really fucking with you, that's understandable.
Yes.
But get somebody to help you. Anybody. Yeah. If you can't find a friend or a family member to confide in, go seek therapy. Get an online thing. Talk on the phone. Find somebody. That's why they have a suicide hotline. If you're feeling that way, call somebody. You got to get help somewhere. You can't just sit around and say, I'm mentally ill. And do nothing about it. You got to fix it somehow. So, and that's why there's so many options now available, because they're trying to make people comfortable about saying, hey, I think something's wrong with me mentally. I've got this weird feeling. I need to talk to somebody about it. And 9 times out of 10, people are understandable. And that 1 out of 10, get that fucker out of your life.
Pretty much.
So, his son learned not to do drugs by watching what his mom went through. And in some cases, that happens. Yep. There are some people who don't do drugs. They saw what it did to their parents. There are some people who don't drink because they saw how their parents were when they drank. Like, if there's one good thing that came out of Luna being on drugs, is that her son never did them. Yep. She always tried to kill herself and constantly had marks on her wrists. Again, I really feel sorry for the most her son.
Yeah.
Like obviously, suicide is a serious issue, and I don't harp on people who do it, but when you have a child, that should be enough of a motivator for you not to do that. She later goes to ECW at the behest of Nancy Benoit. She was the queen of Extreme and could mix up with the guys. She faced Stevie Richards in the first ever intergender cage match and won. She teamed up with Cactus Jack.
Oh, that makes sense right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Cactus Jack was one of the most deranged characters Mick Foley had.
Ugh.
I mean, Mankind was demented, but Cactus Jack was more deranged.
More deranged.
Yes. Because Mankind wasn't banging on all cylinders. Cactus knew exactly what crazy shit he was doing. That's different.
Man.
But yeah, so, and I like that. I like seeing them mix it up with the guys.
Yeah.
My only issue is, if you're going to let the guys and girls mix it up, make it evenly matched.
Yeah.
Don't be one of those things where the guy's swinging and missing all the time, and the girl at the drop kick and the guy goes out of the ring. Because that makes the guy look stupid.
Yeah.
That's why Lucha Underground works so well. Because when they hit, they hit. The guys would hit the girls real hard. The girls would hit back even harder. Like, it was a fight. You put them on equal playing field, and you showed that you could do it. So that's what I love about that. She could mix it up with the guys. Guys are fighting, and Luna could take it as well as she could dish it out.
Yep.
So it worked perfectly. Now, in 1997, she rejoins the WWE and is still a valet. She gets paired with the artist formerly known as Goldust and hates the Diva era the direction is going. So basically, right around this time, this is when the feud with Sable started to happen. We're going to get more of that in a moment. Because Sable was with Mark Marrow. Mark Marrow was feuding with Goldust. And Goldust was going through this weird transformation where he was not doing the Goldust anymore. So he was trying to go a different direction with the character, kind of similar to Luna's character a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's what made them a great pairing.
Yep.
And because Sable was with Mark Marrow and Goldust was feuding with Mark Marrow, Sable and Luna started to feud. So they started having tag matches and one-on-one matches and, brawls ensuing. And obviously this is becoming the Diva era, where it's becoming where the tits and ass is being more accentuated than it was before. Now they're really going in this direction of, we want the girls to be hot because it's the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
So they're trying to bring more sexiness to it. Why? Because as I mentioned before, guys like sexy women.
Yes, we do.
We do. It's, again, unless you're gay, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, especially since they asked her to job the Sable, who has no experience in the ring. So the fact she had to job the Sable pissed her off.
Oh, yeah.
According to Luna, Sable said, this is a quote from Luna about what Sable, she said, she doesn't have to take bumps because Vince has told her she is going to be the women's champion. Yeah.
How does that work?
No.
No.
No, just no. What do you mean I don't take bumps? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's kind of how a match works.
Yeah.
Usually, if a legend or a big name in the business is up in age, they might say, yeah, I'm not taking a lot of bumps tonight.
Yeah.
They've earned that right. There are some legends that are working shows and they're like, look, I'll do one big bump and that's it. Other than that, I ain't taking bumps. So, but when you're at the prime of your career or you're just starting out, guess what? There's bumps tonight.
Yep, there's
bumps. Gonna be bumps.
A lot of bumps.
So if Sable did say that, then obviously she doesn't respect the business and she's a fucking moron. But again, that's if she said that.
Yep, true.
The way her psyche felt at that point, knowing the dues she had paid, and how her family stopped talking to her because she wanted to be a lady in this business. Her children were growing up without her. She was growing up without them. All for wrestling. It tore her apart. That's what made her so angry.
Oh, okay.
The fact that she's paying all these dues, I'm on the road, I'm making all these sacrifices, I'm doing all this important shit for the business, and this woman who has little to no experience in the ring and is basically a hot piece of ass is telling me, oh, I'm going to be the women's champion, so I don't have to take any bumps. It pissed me off too.
That would make me mad.
So at WrestleMania 14, Luna makes Sable look like a champion. And we mentioned that in the WrestleMania 14 review.
Yep.
And apparently Vince said to her she would be fired if Sable was scratched or bruised. Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Is this really something Vince would say?
Sounds like it.
I'm like, that was a stupid thing to say. Okay, first of all, I mean, don't go, unless Vince is trying to say don't go out there and take liberties. But if you're working a match and she gets a scratch or a bruise, guess what?
What?
This ain't ballet.
No, it's not.
It's gonna happen. And guess what? A bruising will eventually go away.
Yes, it will.
There you go. And if Sable is as talented as they think she is, guess what?
What?
As a heel, it makes Sable look better.
True.
Because she could get on the mic, or maybe, unless she was a babyface at the time. I think she was a babyface, never mind. So she can go out there and go, you know, you damaged my pretty face or whatever. If anything, could have gave Sable more of an edge.
True.
Like, now I'm going to beat your ass because I don't have to look pretty right now. They could have worked that into something. So that was kind of dumb. Vince was proud of her. Vince showed up with flowers and thought they were thanking her. They think they were giving flowers to Luna for a good job. But they walked right past her and gave them to Sable. Yeah. That's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
First of all, the person you need to be thanking the most in a match is the person doing the job. Gets the most thanks. Sable should have been thanking Luna the second they got back through that curtain. Because Luna did her job. Because anybody knows Luna could have ripped this bitch apart. If this was a shoot fight, Sable would have been dead.
Pretty much.
Because Luna's that fucking crazy. So that, to me, is fucking disgraceful.
Yeah, I can hear you down.
Like, yes, you want to congratulate somebody for a win, but you congratulate the most for the job. Because it's scripted. Because you can look good in victory.
Yes.
But it's my job to do that. But if we're having a match, and they say, all right, Zach, you're going over on Vinny.
Okay.
You're going to win. Hit him with a stunner, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
I have to let you do that. If I call an audible, kick you in the nuts, DDT you, legit, and you're unconscious, I pin you 1, 2, 3, guess what? You didn't win a title, did you?
Nope.
I have to let you kick me in the gut, drop me with the stunner, 1, 2, 3, Zach wins.
Yay.
That's why again, back behind the curtain, once you get back behind the curtain, first thing you do is come up to me and say, thank you, brother. That's the first thing you need to say to me if I'm jobbing for you. Because that means, hey, you made me look, you did, thank you, man, I appreciate it. You know, but nobody did that. And that's wrong.
Yeah, that was very wrong.
And Luna was in tears because nobody appreciated what she did. Like, nobody cared. Nobody gave a shit. It was crazy. Now Sunny tried to be encouraging to Luna. And she picked her up and slammed her into a production box.
Well, that's what you get for being nice.
She didn't hit her face because she knew she would be fired.
Okay.
And the thing is, I think it's because when she looked at Sunny, she also saw another hot piece of ass. Yeah. Which I will say this. Sunny was a valet. So naturally she was brought in to be a hot piece of ass. But here's the difference. Sunny, regardless of what anybody thinks about her, respected the business. Yes. She did. She came up in the business. She was told to respect it. And here's the difference. And Jim Cornette said this. Sunny was an upfront cunt. Sable is an undercover cunt. If Sunny doesn't like you, she'll let you know right away. I don't fucking like you. I'm here to make money. I'm here to be a valet. I'm the sexiest woman in this locker room. And I don't care if you don't like me. Sable would pretend to be your friend and talk shit about you behind your back. Which is why Sunny didn't like her either. Now, the WWF continues to go to the direction of swimsuit contests, bra and panties matches, and becoming more sexual in nature. Which, again, I said before, we all secretly enjoyed. The only problem was if you overdid it too much. True. You had to say the bra and panties matches for, like, solid feuds to build up. But Luna wants to show her in-ring prowess. She had an evening gown match against Sable and won. That right there tells you the beauty aspect of this. Because for those who don't remember, Zach, do you remember how an evening gown match works?
Rip out the evening gown.
Yes. Luna won. Why did she win?
I don't remember.
Because no one wanted to see Luna with her clothes off. But we all want to see Sable with her clothes off. So they knew when they ripped that off, they get a loud pop. Because not only did Luna kick Sable's ass, but on top of all that, Sable's naked.
Yep.
Stripped to her undies. So crowd goes home happy. Now she didn't feel pretty because she was competing with models. At one point, they wanted her to take her top off, and she screamed at Vince, "You spent all these years making me ugly, and now you're asking me to do this?" Now, again, I see Luna's argument. And obviously, this was not something she wanted to do. This is not something she was comfortable with, so she didn't do it. Like, she was asked to be part of the Miss Rumble 2000, and that combined with erratic behavior and backstage antics led to her being released for the final time. She refused to be part of it. Like, she basically said to hell with this and walked out of the ring. She didn't want to be part of it. She didn't want to do any of the sexual stuff. She just wanted to wrestle, which back then was not the direction they wanted to go. So, like, Luna would excel today.
Yeah.
In the way wrestling is now. But back then, that's what they were going with because they were trying to make the women sexy. They wanted high ratings. They wanted to beat WCW. And the reality is, women's wrestling was not something people were clamoring for in the Attitude Era. And anybody who says differently in the comments section, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah.
She cared about women in the business and wanted more. She then spelled out, "Fuck you, Vince," and cocaine and snorted it.
Oof.
So that's what she was pissed about. But she wanted women in the business to succeed more, which obviously today they are.
Yeah.
She also took pills and drank to excess. Things got so out of control, Gangrel filed for divorce. Luna wanted to get back together, but Gangrel didn't.
True.
Because he loved Luna, he cared about Luna, but when someone's toxic like that, you gotta get out of the relationship.
Yeah, time to go.
It's not gonna work. And Luna had to get her shit together, and it was just too much for Gangrel to handle. But if you talk to him today, he still has love for her.
Oh, God, yeah.
He really does. He cares about her deeply. But, like you said, when a relationship is that toxic, you gotta get out.
Yep.
One night, she went to Penelope's house, and she was scared and waving a gun around. Penelope told her she wasn't stable enough to be around her anymore because she has kids. Again, Penelope thinking about her family. You know, I can't be around this unstable shit.
Yep.
Because that's the thing. People change when they have children.
True.
That's why, when most people, when they grow up, you eventually, as you get older and take on more responsibilities in your life, some friends you have eventually go by the wayside. Because you grow up, but they don't.
True.
So it's like, look, I can't do this party shit anymore. I got a wife and I got kids. So, I might be able to go drinking with you on a Saturday, but if you call me on a Sunday, sorry, I have a presentation on Monday.
There you go. I gotta take my kids to school tomorrow.
Exactly. That's the thing. People take that into account.
True.
She started working as a waitress after her time in the business was over. So Luna ended up waiting tables.
Okay.
Her son was in culinary school, so he didn't talk to her much. So he was studying to be a chef. Luna later worked for a towing company and was hanging out with outlaw bikers. She never saw her granddaughter. So basically when her son had a kid, she never met her. So that was the sad part there.
Yeah.
She never got to meet her granddaughter. On August 27th, 2010, she died. She had an overdose of oxycodone and benzodiazepine. Whatever the fuck that is.
Oh, it's a benzo.
Benzo, yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, the oxycodone. Has some strong shit in it.
It works if you use it right. It does. Remember when I was in my accident, I was prescribed Oxycontin, but I used it right. Every time I got a migraine, heartburn, or anything, and took one, it was like, takes about 10 minutes and I felt fine. And I pissed dirty for my pee. I was still on probation. He said, see right there? You see right there? You're using it right. I was like, okay. Yeah, it addicted to pills. I had pills shoved down my throat since I was 8 years old.
Mick Foley reads a eulogy for her that says, and I'll even pull my notes up for this one. In a world full of butterflies, it took balls to be a caterpillar. I love that quote from Luna, and in a way, I can't help but hope that this life was every bit a psoriasis of sorts for her. That for a woman who never seemed completely comfortable in her own skin, this life was just a prelude to becoming the beautiful butterfly God always meant for her to be. But that would be too easy, and so anti-Luna. Mm-hmm. There are enough beautiful butterflies out there already. Maybe we should be able to appreciate the beauty of the caterpillar without needing or wanting it to change for our viewing pleasure. Maybe Luna was perfect just as she was. Maybe she was exactly who she was supposed to be. That's the eulogy.
Yep.
I thought it was pretty well done.
Yeah, it was. Very well done.
Yes. She never saw herself as beautiful. Gangrel was worried nobody else could take her, and that was why he stayed married to her as long as he did. He wishes he could have saved her, and says he might have been selfish for not wanting to stay and help her. And, sometimes you can get that way.
Yeah, true.
Like when I dated a girl who was an alcoholic, but I had to end things.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, could I have helped? Could I have done anything? And the truth is,
no.
Gangrel can't blame himself.
No, he can't.
When people go down that dark path, the one thing about addicts and everything, they have to hit bottom before they realize they have a problem.
Yep.
You can't tell somebody they're an addict. They have to come up with that on their own. It's just the truth. They have to be willing to look at themselves in the mirror and say, I'm a drug addict. I'm an alcoholic. And I need to get some help.
True.
You can have the interventions. You can beg and plead. But until they decide for themselves, nothing will change.
Nope.
Nothing. That's the truth.
Truth.
They have to want to get better.
Yes.
And they have to have a motivating factor. Whether it's for themselves or for their families, their friends, their jobs, whatever the motivation is, they have to find it on their own.
Yep.
So, Gangrel can't blame himself. I understand why he does, but he can't.
Yep.
Luna's only regret is that she sacrificed everything for the business that gave her nothing. She wishes she could have done more for women's wrestling. Mick Foley believes she would love women's wrestling today.
She probably would.
Yeah. Especially with the women main eventing WrestleMania at WrestleMania 35.
Yeah.
The fact that now that it's 2 nights a week, for the most part, the women main event the first night,
yes.
which is what I think they should do going forward.
Yes.
If you're going to have 2 Royal Rumbles and 2 WrestleMania nights, have the women main event night 1 and the guys main event night 2.
2.
Make it easy. That way the Royal Rumble means something. So, there's so much the women do today that they didn't get to do before.
Very true.
So, but unfortunately, you got to have people like Luna go through those kind of things to pave the way.
Yes.
For what happens here. They made those sacrifices so the women today can have what they have. And it's not an easy road. If you're a guy, being in the business is hard. For a woman, it's even harder. But, you just got to make sure that you're in the business for the right reasons. Keep your head on a normal path and on a stable path, and you'll be fine.
Yes.
And, Luna was definitely one of the best female wrestlers of all time.
Yep.
I assume she's in the Hall of Fame, but if she's not, I hope she gets it in there someday.
Yes.
I have a feeling her son might be the one accepting the award. I don't know who would induct her. Maybe they can get Gangrel to do it.
Much more likely Gangrel.
Yeah.
Or Mick Foley.
Yeah. Either Mick Foley, Gangrel. I would say Dustin Rhodes, but he's in AEW. But then again, they have done one-nighters like that. Where they might have Dustin come in for one night to induct. Or if Bam Bam Bigelow was still alive, they might have him do that. But either way, if Luna's not in the Hall of Fame, she should be.
Yes.
And definitely had one hell of a great career.
Yep.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude Boochcast Reviews, Darkside of the Ring. Make sure you guys tune in next week. We've got a crazy one next week. We got Extreme and Obscure Rob Black's XPW.
Oh, Jesus.
That'll be the one next week. So make sure you guys are following us on all of our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch. The links are down in the description box below. And of course, here on the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified when new content will be posted. Also follow us on all of our social media platforms: Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio. Links are down in the description box below. And you can support the Boochcast by going to anchor.fm/theboochcast/support. Links in the description box below. You guys know the spiel by now. You gotta share it with you. So we'll talk to you guys next time. Until then, pizza, baby!